Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Silver Lining. I'm your host, Juliette Valle, Miss South Florida for 2020, and I'm literally just absolutely freaking out because this girl, I have loved this guest since I was like first entering the MAO system at 14. So in 2016, when I was first getting into it, I was looking at videos on YouTube about the Miss America organization, and I found this special that ABC did in 2013 and 2014 called Pageant Confidential, and she happened to be one of the main stars on it, and I just fell in love with her personality. She's absolutely hilarious, talented, and just all the things. So I'm so happy she's here today. Please welcome Miss Oklahoma 2013, Kelsey Griswold.
Hi. I love that introduction.
I'm not even kidding. I'm literally freaking out. I was so happy when you responded, because you're the Oscar Mayer Wiener Queen. There's gonna be more context on that.
What a legacy. I'm the Oscar Mayer Wiener Queen. What if that was my whole legacy? Somebody put that on my tombstone because I really need people to remember that for sure.
For people that don't know about Kelsey's Oscar Mayer Wiener Queen, which what are you, living under a rock? And Pageant Confidential, of course, Miss Kelsey was Oklahoma. They mentioned that she also had a title, a reigning title that has still not been. You're still the Oscar Mayer Wiener Queen. No one's taken.
Yeah. Oh, I was a kid. I feel like, and there were boys there, so I guess I could have been king or queen. But I was the Oscar Mayer Wiener kid. I was just. I mean, they did a jingle competition. My mom would enter me into any competition ever as a kid because I was just such a ham, and so she was like, "You need to put her in anything." And so we came up with this. Jingle because you're supposed to take the original jingle, that tune, put new words to it, blah blah blah. So we did that. I auditioned in front of an Albertsons, and then I got a call. My mom was trying to be so sneaky about it, but they were going to come to my elementary school and tell everybody in front of the school that I had gotten in the top 10. And my mom had to be sneaky about it because I was going to be a ding dong mouse in Nutcracker. And I was that was my dream, was to be a ding dong mouse in the Nutcracker. So she had to find a way for me to not find that out while trying to tell me that I couldn't go to rehearsal for the Nutcracker because this thing was happening. So I get to go to LA. I auditioned to be the kid. They chose the kid, and then I was the kid, and I got to use my jingle to get free hot dogs and make commercials for a while.
And you were also on the Rosie O'Donnell show, which they talked about. So, I mean, literally iconic. I'm just so glad that was the opening because that's obviously her biggest accomplishment, even though she's acted on TV in London, on FX and all that good stuff. The Oscar Mayer Wiener kid, it just takes the cake. It's just iconic, literally the most iconic thing I've ever witnessed.
It's the biggest deal. I can't. I'm being so sarcastic right now.
We'll never live it down. It'll always follow you. I really don't know if you've ever thought that 20 years later talking about it.
I just love that you love it. That's really all that matters is that you love it. That's really what I care about.
So my first question for you is when and how you first got involved with the Miss America organization, and what do you believe you learned in those years during competing that led you to your Miss Oklahoma win?
So I originally did teen pageants right when the teen organization started. So 2 years, I think, 2 to 3 years after it had begun, I started competing. And I did it for 3 years or something. And I loved it, thought it was great. Then actually, so my mom passed away when I was 15. So she actually passed away 2 weeks before the state pageant. And so I went and competed at the state pageant. And then after that, I was technically put into foster care. And but some of the foster families were involved in the Miss Oklahoma organization, and my situation was rather unique in the sense that they were able to request me as a child to take care of. So I said this in my Miss Oklahoma interview, but I was essentially raised by the system. So although pageants weren't really a thing I was great at, I wasn't great at it as a teen. I was a performer, but I wasn't polished or really any of that. But I loved the women. I loved the volunteers. I just loved everything about it. So then I fast forward several years later, I didn't compete for like 3 years maybe. So I was 20 years old, and I was a junior in college. I'd run out of college scholarship, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do about this. So I went to financial aid, and they were like, we don't know how to help you. And then I turned around on the bulletin board. It was like, you can do Miss OCU, and if you lose, you get all this scholarship. I was like, well, I'll probably lose, but I can give it a shot. And then I did it, and I lost, but I got a lot of scholarship. And so I had a friend say, do one more, see if it works out. So I won the next one, Miss Bricktown, Oklahoma City. And then I won Miss Oklahoma, and that was it. I was like, bing, bang, boom. So, and then after, I mean, the reasons why I needed the scholarship very badly, I wanted to perform, and then really what the organization, I would have stayed in it. Had I not won that year, I probably would have continued, just because the friendships, the women were just unlike anything I'd ever experienced before. So I still am extremely close with every person that I was close with during that experience, that first year. I still talk to them literally daily. Like, I'm in the parking lot I'm in like a parking space outside of my friend who I met at Miss Oklahoma. So I'm like still very close with everyone. So yeah, I don't know if that answered all the questions, but
It definitely did. And I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. That's incredibly
oh,
but
it's okay. Yeah. I mean, it's fine now. It was very hard then, but she's
of course.
there. I feel her closer to me now than I ever did. It's hard to explain. Like, as an adult woman, I'm like, I can just feel her presence close to me.
Well, I have no doubt she'd be so proud of you. And to hear that the Miss Oklahoma system raised you, that was a really beautiful statement. And, you know, the friendships that you made that obviously changed the course of your life forever. It's a testament to how not only the scholarships, which you also use, can change your life, but just the system itself. It helps shape
Yeah.
you as a person.
Well, and also I think, like, there are a lot of women I know that want to do it because they love the beauty, they love the pageantry, they love the stage, or they love the, you know, some people, I mean, if they're being honest, they love the attention. And that's all, actually, those are all really valid reasons to compete, to be honest. But I was competing for the sole, like, I was like, I like attention, and I love attention, and I love, like, I'm very competitive, like, all of that makes sense. But I wouldn't give my time and energy to something that I wasn't truly passionate about or that I needed, and I didn't know how badly I needed it
Right.
until, you know, later. So
I love how you openly admit that you love attention, because but definitely it makes me so happy to hear, like, as a current college student who is going to a very expensive private university, that, you know, the scholarships helped you, and they certainly helped me. I got $11,000 worth of scholarship money from my local, which is an incredible
yeah.
amount of money. So it really does help. And that leads me to my second question, which is also about the organization. So I'm curious to know how many titles exactly you served under the Miss Oklahoma organization, and how do you believe those years of service changed you as a person and changed your community?
So as a teen, I served, like, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I know that teens now are way more involved in their platforms and in community service. And at that point, I wasn't necessarily nearly as in depth with it. I loved the performance aspect, but I hadn't really included my platform in anything substantial until I competed as a Miss. So I only had one local title that I ever used, and I was only that local title for 4 months before I won Miss Oklahoma. So
Oh, wow.
my whole process of, like, learning everything was packed into that 4 months. But because of life experience, I was able to sort of bring all of that into competing for Miss Oklahoma. And then my year, all of it was very much what I'm still invested in right now, which my platform then was Artists Reaching Together, ART. It's essentially, I can communicate this a little bit easier now than I did back then, but the program was to essentially incorporate artistic education and development into special education programs across the state of Oklahoma, and wanting to utilize artistic education to increase vocational skills. Because there's research that's come out that has stated those who have been diagnosed with autism or Down syndrome, or, you know, name any different ability, you can tell that arts education influences their communication style, XYZ. So I was trying to go and promote that in the state legislation, in just in schools in general, in private schools, incorporating fundraisers for that. So that was like my platform basically. And then we used to do these, I don't even know what they're called anymore, but they were like, oh, excuse me, hot mess. What am I doing? So that they used to incorporate like a secondary platform, sort of like how they've done like a social impact initiative goes in with your platform, but there was always like something else underneath your platform. So then I would my talks in schools as Miss Oklahoma was about my experience in foster care and not becoming a victim to your circumstance. That just because you've had a hard life does not mean that you get to pout and say, well, it was me for the rest of your life. Like you have to take responsibility. Not everybody has it easy. And your job is to just get it together and like find out what your talents are and where your skills lie and utilize them to build yourself a life that you're proud of. So that was what I would do as far as Miss Oklahoma was talk about that. So.
I mean, you are incredibly inspiring. And I like that you say, you know, I don't feel sorry for myself. I took my circumstances. I made a better life for myself. That's so much of what I preach is, you know, positivity, glasses half full. And you took obviously like an incredibly hard circumstance at a very young age. You said you were 15 when that all happened. But then you ended up prevailing and becoming Miss Oklahoma and graduating from OCU and furthering your education, and all the obstacles you had on your way, you overcame them. So it's actually like incredible. Like I literally don't know what else to say but that.
Well, and also I just think that like the world is full of, there's like this strange balance of like people that are entitled. They're like, well, I've been through this, so I'm entitled to this. Or like, I've had a great life, so I don't expect anything else but greatness. And it's like, you don't learn anything if things aren't difficult. It's like, I know that you know this, training for Miss Oklahoma or training for Miss Florida, and like, you don't become fit or, like you don't become strong and your body doesn't become, swimsuit ready. Like when we used to do swimsuit without extraordinary hard work. Like you can't expect an incredible result if you're not putting incredible effort in. So that's where I guess I would say I'm sort of shocked by this wave of generational entitlement. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense why people think that they deserve the world when you didn't work for it, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I'm a little harsh on it because I have strong opinions.
Kelsey Griswold has spilled the tea and exposed you all. I was going to say, though, I think you deserve to say it because as a preliminary swimsuit winner at Miss America, you know what hard work means, especially when it comes to fitness. I remember watching on Pageant Confidential with your trainer, and he was really hard on you.
Yeah, he's hard, but like at the same time, I didn't want to win swimsuit because my body was amazing. I didn't want to win swimsuit because of that. I wanted to win because I'm number one and competitive. And also I just know that swimsuit has so much more to do with like your confidence than it does at all with your body.
Absolutely.
Which is why I'm really supportive of where the Miss America organization is at right now. Like I think that they're trying their best. They're doing everything that they can to make sure that they're trying to grow, and with growth comes growing pains, right? And then they took away the swimsuit portion because maybe it wasn't necessarily relevant. Well, that's the one thing I will disagree on. I think that it is relevant in some capacity. I just don't think they need to be judging based on body. They need to be judging based on confidence, because confidence is the job of Miss America. It's the job of Miss Oklahoma. If you're not confident, then what is there really? And so if anyone, I mean, no matter what the body type, you're walking in a swimsuit like you're in the Victoria's Secret fashion show, which by the way is no longer relevant either. But it's like you're walking with extreme confidence. That's how a judge is like, yes, sis, like let's get it. Like we can, it's just I don't know. I'm not necessarily as eloquent as some have explained in the past, but I just know that when I walked, I was walking with the fact that I knew I could lift like 350 pounds with my legs. And so I felt untouchable, if that makes sense.
I'm writing down what you said. Confidence is the job of Miss America or Miss State. That's what it is, really. I mean, I love that. You know, you have to have confidence when you get up there. Like you're saying, it's not really necessarily about the body type. It's about how confident the girl is in herself, because I can tell you that I've never seen a state title holder walking on the Miss America stage with the exact same body type. Like maybe some girls are tall and slim or more short and muscular, but they're never exactly the same. That'd be impossible,
No.
or else it'd be a very boring competition. But confidence is what, you know, you have to exude. You have to represent your state well and also represent yourself. And if you don't have
Yeah.
confidence, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, confidence is actually a byproduct, I think, of a knowledge within oneself, right? So like you knowing yourself really well and knowing exactly who you are, what you stand for. Confidence is a byproduct of that. So that's why confidence is the job, is because if you know yourself, then you already are Miss whatever. I mean, I think that the best thing that you can do to win is to know exactly who you are and be unwavering about that, because that's it.
You're
That
hitting
is it.
up with the quotes today. I've got like 2 Post-its and it's only like a couple minutes. We love it. Kelsey Griswold was them. Literally, I absolutely so agree. And you exude confidence. And that is why you're an actress. And that brings me to my next question about your education. So you were a graduate of Oklahoma City University, which, by the way, as a theater kid, I was researching that program. It's an amazing school.
Awesome.
And you earned your BFA in acting there. And you also studied Shakespeare and classical acting and stage combat with an emphasis on fencing, which if you watch Pageant Confidential, you'll already know that, at Kingston University in London, which is so, so cool. And I know theater has always been a huge part of your life. You're a professional actress now. So I'm wondering what exactly ignited your passion in the arts. When did that begin? And how do you think being an artist shapes you as an individual? How does it influence your life?
Well, the first question you asked is really quick. I don't have memories of a time when I didn't want to do this. So I don't have any memory of like I wanted to be XYZ. Like it was always I wanted to be a performer. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be singer, dancer, actor. That's what I wanted to do. So that's just I've always known since even before. Yeah, I don't have a memory of any time before. I think that artistry allows you to become the most empathetic human being on earth. Like I think that there is no career path that allows a person to put somebody else's shoes on and actually walk in them like being an actor. And I have empathy for literally every single people group there ever was in the world, because if I'm not played you, I've tried to play you or I've thought about playing you. And so it's like I cannot stress enough how much the world needs compassion right now and how much the world needs empathy. And so I'm like, oh, if you're going to be an actor, then that's the number one way you can do it, is like be an actor so that you can contribute empathy and compassion. Now, granted, there are a lot of people that want to be actors because they want to be famous. I'm like, that's your road, that's your journey, like whatever. Fame is not ever going to bring anyone solace or joy ever. And I don't know why anyone would think that it would, but people love to be validated, and that makes sense. But I think that if you're truly in it for the right reasons, you'll see that there's not one person on the planet that cannot be understood. They all have an explanation somewhere.
I think that really is such an important part of acting, is understanding your character and being able to relate to them on some level, even if they're so completely opposite from you, being able to sympathize with them, empathize with them. So I think that what you said, artistry is empathy, is really poignant and beautiful. And you've played a large plethora of characters. Not all of them are the same. Certainly you covered from like Queen America to like the People versus O.J. Simpson, like 2 very different shows, 2 very different atmospheres, 2 very different vibes. And yet you're able to conform to that. And that's versatility, and empathy is what makes you a good actress.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And I also think that too, it's like just being willing to be bold and brave, and that can go any direction. That's any direction of, or any career path. If you're bold and brave, you can do anything. And again, and then that goes back to being confident and actually knowing who you are. It's all like learned from pageants. Pageants teach you so much stuff. It's just everyone needs to do them at least once to see what you can get out of it, because I just think that there's always that route taught me endlessly how to navigate entertainment industry, which is a beast.
And in addition to acting, you're also a singer, and you sang a really, really hard song at Miss America, which you belted for the gods in front of millions of people, which is hard because I'm a vocal performer, and I know that singing high while you're nervous is very tough. So kudos to you for that. But you were honestly incredible. I loved your outfit, like the polka dots. Like, you guys can clearly see I'm actually literally obsessed with Kelsey. She's probably okay, cool. Stalker alert, like probably texting her friends, like, please help me.
Literally not at all.
So I'm wondering why you chose the piece you chose for a competition, and what was it like performing on the Miss America stage? I feel like that's just something that so few people get to experience, and probably a feeling that most people can't even comprehend.
Well, first of all, the piece was chosen by my director from Bricktown, Oklahoma City. His name is Dan Hare. He passed away recently, actually, and in his, I mean, truly to his honor, he is the person that believed in me far before I believed in myself. So I miss him deeply, and I think he really influenced that track. He created many Miss Oklahomas after me too. So he had a pretty good run there. But that song, I love Barbra Streisand, and I love Bette Midler, and I love that Broadway golden age. So that type of music is what I sing the best. I'm not good at pop. I'm not good at opera. I'm not good at any of that stuff. I just am really good at Broadway classic, like old standards. So that song was both performative and also like classy. And I was like, I get to a tendency where I can be ridiculous. And so I'm like, I don't want to be ridiculous. I want to be taken seriously. So like, what is a good balance between the two? So that was a good song to choose. Everybody Says Don't from Anyone Can Whistle. And then I will say, performing on the Miss America stage, like, rough. It's rough because you can't hear anything. And also you are starving to death. Like, I was starving to death, not because I was starving myself, but because I was actually like so bubble guts that I hadn't eaten anything. So I was just running on absolute fumes. And then you don't drink water because you just don't think about it. Like, it wasn't anything purposeful. It was like, you just don't think to like do certain things. So I just hadn't drank any water. I was literally praying, Lord, please just get me through the song. Like, I just need to get through the song.
So you couldn't hear anything on stage? Like, you can't hear the music?
Oh no, like if you watch the performance, I'm starting late because I can't hear anything. So I'm like, and everybody's cheering, and I had a great cheering section. Like, I was super thrilled for that, but like, holy crap.
I'm surprised they didn't give you an earpiece or something, because I know even when I'm singing close to a covered note, sometimes I need a headphone.
You cannot, in that space in Atlantic City, you can't hear anything. Not a thing. So I don't know what they could. My one of my best friends, Addie Price, who's the current Miss Oklahoma, she was like, yeah, I can't. Oh, you have to interview her.
I know.
She's my favorite.
I got her email. Tell her to hit me up because she emailed me. Come on, Addison, answer.
She's literally, she's everything to me. I'm gonna make her watch this just for this reason. She's everything to me.
Oh my gosh, hi Addison, please come on my show.
Yeah, she's gonna be on your show because I'm gonna be like, sis, I'll sit there and hold the camera.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love her with my whole soul. But anyway, she couldn't hear anything either. So I'm like, it might just be a thing where like you're just, adrenaline is pumping so hard that your ears don't work. I don't know. Clearly something's going on, but it's hard. So that's why another thing is like, you just have to be so prepared, because even in my Miss America interview, I blacked out like halfway through. So like, I'm like, you have to be so prepared that if you black out, it somehow works itself out. Like, you just need to be prepared.
And clearly it did, because you got second runner-up and queen. And in addition to winning the title of Miss Oklahoma 2013, you were awarded the Bronze Duke of Edinburgh Award. You were a preliminary swimsuit winner, a rookie talent winner, and you also tied for overall preliminary talent award. You were also the rookie interview winner and rookie of the year because, as you mentioned before, your first local title that you had ever had won you Miss Oklahoma, which is amazing. Well, your first.
I love that you did your research. That's so great.
Like I said,
I didn't even remember all that, so that's awesome.
Complete stalker mode. Literally, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm like a huge fan. Like, I'm literally obsessed over Pageant Confidential. Of course, I've researched you beyond that, but like, that's what got me interested. And like, no, seriously.
Well, you know what? Even if you're lying straight to my face, I think it's really sweet that you would say that. But I doubt that you're lying, but I just love that you're saying it. It's very nice.
Oh no, I'm not that good of an actress. Like, literally, #obsessed. So I want to know how it felt, in addition to winning all that, because it's very impressive. How did you feel when you won Miss Oklahoma 2013? What did it feel like knowing you had the chance to represent your state? And also, it's really rare for someone to win on their first try. Were you surprised, or like, how did you feel?
So another one of my best friends is Alex Sepler. She's who I was holding hands with, and I crowned her the next year. And I went into Miss Oklahoma being like, okay, so great. Can't wait for Alex to be Miss Oklahoma. I'm like, love her. Think she's fantastic. Like, can't wait to watch her win, you know? And then actually that week, it just kept pointing to her up until I won swimsuit and then talent. I was like, now I had been working with an interview coach who said, if you win both prelims at Miss America, then do not expect to win Miss America. That was what he told me. He was like, if you win talent and swimsuit, you're not going to win Miss America.
Why is that?
I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know what the reasons are. But so when he told me that at Miss America, when he told me that before I won Miss Oklahoma, he was telling me that about Miss America. Well, I heard him say that. So after I won talent, I won swimsuit, and then I won talent and rookie talent and all that. I go back to my dorm, and I'm sitting there with my friend, and I'm like, I'm not even going to make the 15. Like, I'm not going to make the 15 because, like, I got both prelims, so I'm not going to win. Like, I'm not even going to get in the top 10. My friend was like, first of all, you've lost your actual mind. And there, I was like, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm just not going to win. I was like, okay, well, at least God was giving me these presents, like, as a gift to be like, to like lessen the blow or something like that. Anyway, so we get to final night. We get to final. What's wrong with my brain? I was like, I went swimsuit in town. I was like, God, thank you just so much for like giving me the gifts to like lessen the blow. Because if I don't get top 10, like this will make sense. Blah, blah, blah. What am I talking about? So I get to, and also by the way, anyone listening to this, and for you yourself, you know when it's your year, unless it's your first year. Then you don't know that it's your year because you don't know what you're looking for. But if you've done it a few times, then you know if the judges are looking at you, you know if they're like giving you the love eyes, that you know that if they're looking at you, they're kind of like, they look at you like that. I didn't know that. I thought they did that to everyone.
No judges ever looked at me like, so I'm waiting for that.
No, like they'll look, apparently they look at you like this. They're like they like, hi, like, so
if
good
the
to see you
judges
again.
in Florida don't look at me like that this year, I'm going to throw hands. No, I'm just kidding.
No. It's a weird thing though. Same with acting. You walk into a casting office and if they're like, hi, like if they're like super excited to see you, then you're like, this is going to go well. If they're like, couldn't be bothered, then you're like, you better deliver.
Well, this is my first year competing as a Miss, so I don't know. Like, what if I'm getting like crazy eyes? I'm gonna have to really do some sleuthing in there.
Here's the deal. My advice to anyone competing is if you are authentically honest about every single piece of you, you're going to win. Because the problem is not everybody's comfortable doing that. Literally only one person, I think, a year is comfortable doing that. Because one person a year walks in and is like, if it works out, it works out. I'm fully prepared for the job. But I'm just kind of like, yeah, if it works out, great. And if it doesn't, great. And like that person wins every single time because that person's not like, what if I don't win? Then it's like, okay, well, you make me uncomfortable. So like, you're not winning.
Kelsey's calling everyone out, exposing everyone. You're not gonna
win. You know who you are. There's people that you know what I'm talking about. The girls that are like, did I do well? I'm like, okay, well, I can like see that you're stressed out.
I've never met a more expressive person than me, and then Kelsey Griswold popped on the Zoom call, and then I realized I'm literally like stone-faced. Like this girl has like a million different things.
But like imagine being in an interview with this, and they're just like, we don't know if she's nuts or if she's
clearly America liked it because you were top 3, so that was something.
No, but I don't even know if I answered any of the questions. Like the point is, my reaction to Miss Oklahoma, if you go on YouTube, it's there. I'm just screaming into the abyss.
I know, I watched it. I love your cutting moment.
I'm just like ah! Like I'm just screaming. I'm not like that. You know how some girls are like not making sound? I'm full on like ah! Like screaming, full on, like screaming into the abyss. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And like, I'm just kind of like, hi everyone, thanks. And like, it was just terrifying, horrible, terrifying, horrifying. Anyway, so I win, and then they're like, by the way, you have an apartment you have to live in. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, I don't go back to school. Like, it was so much that I just didn't realize.
And you were so young. You were 20. That's a year older than me. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, you were going into your junior year of college?
Senior year, I was a young one. But yeah, I was going in my senior year, but I was just like, I didn't know what was happening. So I win though, and I mean, at Miss America, I was way more prepared for what was happening at Miss America, because Miss Oklahoma, a lot like Florida, they just prepare their girls like so well. Like Miss Oklahoma, too. I have to say this because I was Miss Oklahoma and I love this organization. No one prepares their girls like our state does, because they're like, we are preparing you to be Miss America. We are also preparing you to be the best Miss Oklahoma. So they're preparing you for both things. And so you're walking in to interview, and literally if a bomb went off in your interview, you could still continue because of the way they prepare you. And if something happens on stage, like, nothing throws you. Not one thing got in my head that whole week, because I was just like,
And it's very rare that Oklahoma doesn't make the top 15 at the very least at Miss America. Like, it's known as one of the states. I mean, New York is probably one of the most well-known because they had that three-peat in the last decade. But besides that, I think Oklahoma is way up there in terms of, like, they're always on the ball. Like, Addison, I don't know how highly she placed, but she placed very high this past year.
Yeah, third runner-up, which is still, like, just, to me, sis owns. She could win anything she wanted
You have
to.
to show her this. She's iconic. I love her.
Oh yeah, well, she knows that I'm obsessed with her. She's gonna look at this, roll her eyes hard into the back of her head, because she's like, Kels. But like, anyway, point is, I just think that yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's a very strange experience, but with the right prep, it's more than possible to put somebody who's ill prepared, or would have been, like, in my situation, I felt so ill prepared, and then you have the right team and you walk in, like, just knowing exactly what steps you need to make in order for it to pan out the best possible way.
And so they obviously prepared you well for going to Miss America, because while Miss Oklahoma is a huge organization, Miss America is obviously it's bigger than every state organization. It's just a whole other level.
Yeah.
So your experience for competing for Miss America 2014, I want to know what that was like, how preparing for that was. And then in addition to that, the most important question of the interview, Pageant Confidential, how were you approached by ABC being interviewed for that? Because they covered you a lot. I think you were the girl, along with maybe Miss South Carolina, Allie Rogers, who were profiled the most by far. Like, you guys were always on.
And Allie Rogers was the year before me, right? So she,
yes.
she, like, I think that this is a theory that I have about things. First of all, I think they just approached Miss Oklahoma because I think it's just because it's a sash state, right? And I think that they were approaching a lot of girls. They filmed a lot of girls, and who they put on the program was not, they filmed more girls than they showed.
Yeah.
So I think that I was covered so much because I'm showing everything that I am, and I'm now older. So like, I'm older and wiser. Then I was 20 and I was like, look what I can do. like just doing whatever. I mean, I was just a mess. And so I think that they were like, this is great TV, and it was. But also I also had this story on top of being able to really speak clearly and effectively. And I could switch, and I still do this. I can switch from being one person to another person and still have the same heart to it, if that makes sense. So I can switch from talking about something really silly and ridiculous to talking about, a really very hot button topic that is sensitive, and still have the same heart connected to it. And I think that the woman who was running that, the producer that was running that, she and I had connected really well. And she was like, you just sparkle, and like something about it makes sense, and like America's gonna love it. And then I get to Miss America, and I had found out that I had, like, they were betting like a horse race, and that like I had been betted to win, like Like it was like I was going to win Miss America. So I think it has just been a bunch of people had decided that I was going to win at one point.
That was an iconic year at Miss America. I mean, that was Nina DeValore's year when she won, and she's great.
Who, by the way, is one of my favorite things in the world. She is one of my favorite things in the world, and she was at my wedding. She and I have worked together as professional people together. She is one of my favorite human beings. She is Miss America, and her interview kicks mine out of the water. I just happen to be very, like, personality-wise, there's just a lot happening there, but she is Miss America. So it's weird to say that, I guess, but it's just true. So it was an iconic year because she deserved to be there. The world apparently needed to deal with the fact that she was Miss America, and that needed to happen. And the top two needed to be Asian American women, because America was clearly struggling with their racist BS, and it needed to happen. I did not need to be Miss America. They didn't need another white girl, if that makes sense.
Yeah, her win was met with a lot of negativity, and that's very generous of you to say that, really. It's very gracious. And it was so nice to see two Asian American women standing there together. And then, of course, you were second runner-up, so an amazing top three. And then Miss Florida Miranda Jones was also part of that class, and she was all over.
Yes.
And then her injury and the sparkly leg brace, and it's just a lot. That was
Oh, dude, that was so intense.
You were there. Were you there when that happened? I remember.
Oh yeah,
seeing you in a prayer circle with girls when that.
I was leading a prayer circle because I love Jesus so much. So I was like, all right, Jesus, like I don't want any sort of anything. I want there to be drama free here.
You literally were leading the prayer circle when that happened. Hi, Miranda. Shout out. Please come on my show.
Love Miranda. Also, Miranda was a big competitor that year, and so I think that all of us were just sort of. There were a few people there that were like, we need to watch out for them type of thing, and she was one of them because she's awesome. And I hope she watches this because I'll be like,
me too. Hi,
you were there, and I remember it. So like I loved. First of all, there were a lot of us that were pretty competitive and like sort of horse blinders on, and she was one of them. And when she fell, it was like, number one, it was scary, especially for a lot of dancers, because they were like, well, what if the floor is messed up? Like, what if we hurt ourselves? Blah, blah. And then she won talent that night. And then, of course, every girl was like, well, she did it on purpose. And then it was like, okay, well, no one falls and she would have done that on purpose. But she is a type of person that inspired my talk that year of like, you're not a victim to your circumstance. Pick yourself back up and you do the best you can. And she did that. So
absolutely. Shout out to her. And I mentioned your acting career earlier. You were on, so I was watching a Facebook TV show, Queen America, because of course, if there's anything pageant related, I'm going to watch it, right? And I love Catherine Zeta-Jones, who also is like a musical theater queen. She was in Chicago. Queen. And I'm watching this Queen America show, and it's based in Oklahoma because, as we were talking about, Kelsey and I earlier, Oklahoma is a very iconic pageant state. It produces winners. It just is like, it's kind of like the girls that are like raised to be queens. And so it centers around a character who wins Miss Oklahoma, and then she subsequently gets her title taken away because she was involved in a drunk driving case, and then they give it to the first runner-up, and she's a mess. And Catherine Zeta-Jones is the coach. So they're at a banquet or something like that. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but then a former Miss Oklahoma, Kelsey Griswold, as herself, is on the show and comes on and slays, and I'm like,
well, technically, because the girl's name was Kelly something, but they wrote that role because I think that they were like, you can do this, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't do cocaine. So I was like,
no, she's nothing like her character. It's just inspiration because Kelsey was Miss Oklahoma. Yes. But she's not addicted to coke.
I was like, I don't do that. No.
But yeah, did it on here. No, I'm kidding. She doesn't do coke.
I'm like, this is just who I am. I'm sorry.
It's just the energy. No, we love it. But I was like freaking out because I was like, how cool is that? How did they approach you for that? Like, that's so fun.
So the producer and the writer of that show is an old family friend of mine. So I've known her since I was like baby child. and she wrote the show. We had met up when I first moved to LA, and she had asked me about my experience as Miss Oklahoma. So I was sort of giving her more information for her to sort of use to write as, you know, a story that's as accurate with still pieces that are fiction. Yeah, exactly. And then, and then I auditioned for a bunch of different roles in that show and landed with Kelly I think Kelly is kind of a perfect couple scener role. I had initially auditioned for Victoria Justice's part, and obviously if it's me or Victoria Justice, they're going to give it to Victoria Justice. So like I loved the opportunity to even be a part of it.
Kelsey Griswold would have been a better choice.
You're hilarious.
Victoria, if you're watching this, she wouldn't ever bother watching this, so it doesn't matter. But I think you would have been great. But your role was just like so iconic. Like, I can't see anyone else playing it. Like, you were so funny. It was so fun.
Well, that accent isn't hard to fake because it comes out. If you have a Southern accent, mine comes out. I don't know what to do about it. It just comes out. So I just used that for the character because I thought this is accurate to life. And the girl that was playing the lead, the blonde that I'm having a conversation with, her name's Belle Schaus. She's amazing. She was like, you're ridiculous. I'm like, I know. She and I actually ended up in the same acting class a couple years later, maybe a year later. And she's a doll.
Was
so
Captain Zeta-Jones nice? Was she nice?
Yeah, yes, of course. No one's mean, really. I think unless you're like a terrible human being. She was focused though, I would say. You know? Like I think that when you're really a talented, you know, she's royalty, Hollywood royalty in a lot of ways. So
that's been cool, like to see her in person though. Like I would freak out. Like that.
Yeah, I mean, so it's not, that was very much like she's an Academy Award nominee, you know what I mean? So it's not like, or she hasn't won yet. She's definitely a nominee for sure, but like that's not something that, you don't just go up to her and you're like, hey, Kat, let's have a conversation. Like you're just kind of like,
what's up, Katie girl? No.
Have some respectful boundaries, but be like, it's so great to talk to you. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway.
Is that show still on or is it still continuing or no?
No, I think it's been shelved for now. I think so.
But in addition to that show, you were also on an extremely popular show, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. If you look up Kelsey Griswold's acting reel, it's like one of the first things that pops up on YouTube if you look her up. Spoken Like a True Stalker. And that show is literally one of my favorite shows ever. You are next to Selma Blair. You're next to Sarah Paulson. That's like so cool. Like that must have been amazing.
Yes, it was. It was one of the first acting experiences I had professionally in LA. And so I think it was just really unexpected. The way that it happened was unexpected. Being on set, I was on set technically for 6 months, but my role was really small. So it was really God's way of being like, I'm going to pay you money to have this masterclass where you're going to watch people act better than you could ever dream of acting, and you will learn something if you're paying attention. So I think what I learned the most was that acting is extraordinarily difficult. It takes an intense amount of focus. There is such a removal of ego in the process that's why I think actors struggle with like the fame aspect, because when you're in it, you have to remove all ego. Vulnerability has to be king. And so I just watched these people like strip everything for hours and hours and hours, 16 hours a day. They're just giving these like wild performances, and you're just like, you just feel lucky to be there, to be honest. And that's how it felt.
It's incredible. And I love how you utilized your experience to learn, and you're honestly just amazing. Like I was like so in shock. Like you've had an incredible career. You're so young. And I was like, honestly, and I hope I'm like saying this like as politely as I can, I was struck by how young you really are, because Pageant Confidential to me, like when I first got into the MAU, it seems like years ago, but you're like a baby then and you're like a baby now, you know? I mean,
I'm just a little still in my 20s.
I know. I was like, she's so young and you've accomplished so much. And I mean like the nicest way. Like I thought you were ancient, Kelsey. Absolutely not. But like I'm
1,000 years old. It turns out I'm actually a mummy.
No.
I
So,
didn't realize.
well, drop your skincare routine then. But it was so much fun talking to you. So I'm at my last question, and I know I've taken up so much of your time.
No,
So,
I love it. I actually love this. So far. So
so
much
my,
fun.
my show's title is The Silver Lining, and it's all about finding the positivity in every situation, which it's clear to see you do. You mentioned earlier, you know, I'm not going to say this eloquently, but don't feel sorry for yourself. Take your circumstances and make them the best you can, and clearly you have. So I want to know, what is the silver lining of your participation in pageants? In short, what was the best part of competing to you?
The women, just because the friendships are family now, and that's just the truth of it. And also, I think it's a bit cheesy to say that it's service, because service is a heart thing. You don't need pageants in order to serve. You should be able to serve no matter what, if that's your heart's calling. But I think what it did was it introduced the necessity for any person in a privileged position to use that to make the world a better place. Like, if you have a crown and you're not utilizing it for good, then it's just something shiny that you're just
A sparkly hat, like
a sparkly hat that you're using to make yourself feel better, and it seems really self-serving. So I think that if it's not used for something good, then why do it? So I think the friends who became family, which is the number one, really the only reason why, and I feel like anyone really should compete, is that you just have those for lifelong. You just have these lifelong friendships, and then just the heart shift. I'm so grateful every single day for that year, because my heart just changed so dramatically. Because it was like, you just don't know how lucky you are until you have that experience. And then once you realize how lucky you are, actually doing something with that and using it for good and not just sitting with it, I guess, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And this is the most common answer to this question, is the woman. It's just a testament to how much the Miss America organization helps foster meaningful friendships. And what you said earlier about Juliette Valle and her first runner-up and being so happy for them, it's just a graciousness that I think it makes you such a positive person. And I actually watched your video of you watching along with another former Miss Oklahoma, which I know her name, I just can't remember it right now, but
Sarah Klein.
Yes.
That was the one.
Yes, and you were watching Addison's crowning moment, and just like the sheer joy that you felt for your friend. Like, well, you guys were like at a rock concert. Like, you guys were like, oh my God. But
we look nuts. Well, and also, by the way, every single year that a girl is crowned, our reactions are pretty similar. We freak out. We freak out because we get a new sister. It feels like monumental that we get somebody else in our sisterhood. So we're like, we lose our mind. But Addie is like a different story. I could eat her.
But shout out to Addie once again for the 7th millionth time.
I'm gonna eat Addie. I'm gonna eat Sarah Klein too, but I'm gonna eat Addie as well.
That's, yes, queens. But it's just, it's, I love your answer. I love how positive you are and how gracious you are and how supportive you are. I think there's nothing more special. I truly mean this. There's no gift more special than women supporting other women. That's the nature of this organization. It's like a giant sorority of accomplished women, and it's exciting for me to be a part of it. And it's exciting for me to talk to someone like you, who I admire so much, who couldn't have been more nice to me, because I do know you're busy, and you took the time out of your busy schedule to interview with me. And
I know, as I sit in this vehicle, I'm like, this is what we've got today.
No, she's like, I'm in a car, I'm on the move. And I was like, she really is no different than she is on TV. She's just as amazing and energetic. Which we love the authenticity. I can't lie. But I'm just so appreciative you came on here, Kelsey. You are an inspiration to me and to so many. And I really, really am so thankful I got to meet you. Like, truly, I will always be so inspired by you. And I'm really, really appreciative.
Well, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so thankful to have met you and to have talked with you. And I just know that your journey is going to be extraordinary because you take so much interest in this. So I'm like, you take so much heart in it. that's why your journey is going to be different from everyone else's. And I think it's exciting. I love being a part of it.
So much. And guys, please follow Kelsey. Her Instagram is Kelsey_Griswold to keep up with her. She's amazing and hilarious and just the best. And I'll be stalking Kelsey because, well, what else do I have to do? And also just a special shout out really quickly to Sparkling Designs and Gifts for my custom jacket. I love it. And I just wanted to give you a shout out because she also makes custom masks and we want to be safe, because we got to protect all our Miss America sisters and friends. So wear your mask and follow Kelsey Griswold. The two most important things on your to-do list right now are those two things. And again, thank you so much, Kelsey. You are awesome and will always be my Oscar Mayer queen.
Oh, love it. Thank you.
Now that's touching. Now that's beautiful.
It means so much. It means so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.